really light. So these dates have a couple of little
Raw
pops.
Cacao Truffles. Okay,
Alright.
that's for later.
These for later. So I'm going to use about a cup of my dates. And these are already pitted, but you may have to pit them yourself. It's a little more than a cup.
You can't be too sweet anyway.
And honestly, I usually double this recipe because it just doesn't make enough. I gotta have more than that. Alright, so I'm going to blend my dates first just a little bit.
And what are we making?
We are making raw cacao truffles.
Cacao truffles.
Yep, so it's going to be a little noisy.
Right there.
Okay. So we're going to do that several more times so it doesn't have to be...
I feel like in my blender, that won't even happen unless it has liquid in it.
You might want to add liquid.
But I think we can try that.
It's worth having a food processor. You can
It
make
is.
hummus in it.
Food processes
Is that
are
fluff?
great. No, this is my
Coconut oil.
This is my coconut oil from Trader Joe's, so it's pretty simple to find. Now it says a quarter cup. I usually just do a couple of tablespoons. I kind of eyeball things.
The best cooks do.
Yeah. So you can see it's in its hardened form right now. If you wanted to really measure it out, you could melt it. But I was going to say that's about a quarter cup. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing. Each time I add something, basically, I'm going to just pulse it a couple of times. Mix it in. Okay.
Just that would taste good.
That would taste good, yeah.
It's true.
But
There's more.
Oh, we'll get more sweets.
Would it cheese cover on this, Jen?
Now you could use agave. I like to use maple syrup. Thank you, Shannon.
Agave to me tastes almost exactly like honey. I love agave. It's
Yeah.
cheaper too. It's a lot cheaper.
Then maple syrup.
Well, no, than honey too. Either one.
Oh yeah. I like
Just
it
to,
too.
yeah, just to tell you, maple syrup, Stop and Shop has one of the most inexpensive.
Stop and shop.
Yeah.
All right, good to know.
She's
I was at Price
eyeballing
Chopper
it.
today.
Yeah, it's a generic Stop and Shop.
How much of an eyeball was that?
It's a quarter cup of an eyeball. Alright, so now I've got my maple syrup. Alright.
There's a nice ball right there.
Yeah, so it starts to form into a little
just
ball.
eat that.
Eventually, that's what you'll make. You'll just make smaller balls.
It's not gonna wait.
So this is cardamom, ground cardamom
What does
spice.
it taste? Can I smell that?
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of Swedish sweets and breads with cardamom.
Cardamom.
I love
We
cardamom.
have-
It's one of my
What is it?
favorite spices. Cardamom is a cooling spice, so good for pittas. You can combine it with cinnamon, which is a heating spice, and then they balance each other out. I'm out of my cinnamon. Usually I would put some in. But what am I putting in?
Cotton.
Yeah, half a teaspoon, so let me do a little more.
You're almost out, right?
I am. I use it all the time. So I'm almost out. Okay. So it also calls for cinnamon. I'm unfortunately out of my cinnamon, so these are just
Out of cinnamon! Ah!
Look how
A
yellow
little
that
bit.
gets. Look
Yeah.
how yellow. Wow.
She's talking about the ghee, folks.
Gosh.
Check YouTube for that other video.
I'm
A
not
little
ADHD,
pinch
Jess. I
of-
just am noticing that though.
It says to use sea salt. Right now I have Himalayan pink salt. So I'm just going to do a couple of twists of that.
Sweet and salty.
It can be really nice to actually, once you've got these into their little ball-shaped forms, to roll them in salt if you like that combination of sweet and salty. That's tasty.
Himalayan, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's what we have.
Trader Joe's, just in
Another
case you
Trader
want.
Joe's find.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm going to do a couple more pulses.
Look at her doing. Yes.
Another eyeball of vanilla.
Say that was about an eighth of a cup of an eyeball.
Eighth of a cup.
underneath it in a cup. It's supposed to be about a teaspoon.
Oh, Jenny.
Alright, so now I'm going to do my raw cacao powder. Now I've also used carob powder for this, and that comes out equally
So
as...
is that related to chocolate?
Yes, so Sue found out it's the same plant, but
Okay.
cacao is raw because when they make chocolate, they roast the beans. Yeah. So I also have some cacao nibs you guys can look at. There's some in here.
That we can nibble on, you mean?
Nibble on.
Mayan
Here's the
superfood.
carob powder. That's what I use sometimes.
And what's the difference, Josie, with carob powder? Yeah, I'm behind you.
Okay. The carob powder, that's actually a different plant. So the cacao nibs, you can see they're like
Trader Joe's.
My daughter
Living
has
Earth,
bought
actually.
those. We have some of those at home. She bought some of those.
Those are
Those
another
are the
nice thing
nibs,
if you
folks.
want to roll the truffle in afterwards. It creates a nice texture.
Like a little bumpy texture.
Here,
Yeah.
smell it. Smell it.
Smell that? I can't smell through the food. Alright, so I'm doing this. I actually will measure because I want it to be a little bit more precise. So I'm doing a half cup about. Okay, we'll do another pulse.
I'm probably going to be allergic to these. It's raw plant food.
Ah, now it's starting to look chocolatey. Jenny, you gotta come over here and take a
Very
look at
much.
it before it,
This tastes like bitter nuts or
It's not
something.
sweet. It's
well,
not
right,
sweet.
since there's no
Right.
sugar in it, so
No.
remember, it's
Oozy.
just like cocoa is
I've
bitter.
had some of that.
Cacao is gonna be a little bitter
Big
too,
slots.
which is why we added our sweetener.
Alright, so what did we just do? Took some raw almonds?
Yeah, so these almonds have been soaked for about a couple of hours. Normally I might go and take off all the little skins so that they're just, but for tonight's purposes, the skins are going in.
Oh,
A little liquid.
Just to make them softer.
Yeah, it makes them softer, and like I said, you can take the skins off if you want to.
And that
Soak
just
them
Really
fine.
good for you.
Soak them a couple hours, is that what
A couple hours, yeah. You only need to do it for an hour, but
Okay.
they've just been.
and do you need to just because it makes it stick together better?
It makes the almonds softer, so they'll grind up easier, and then yes, everything will stick together a little bit better. So you could also add dried fruit to this, any kind of dried fruit. I've done cherry, I've done blueberry. Tonight I wanted to keep it a little plain, so we're just doing the almonds. So a couple more pulses.
That
A
is
little
a
stuck.
beautiful invention.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. I mean, I could go a little bit longer and it would chop those nuts up a little better, or I could have chopped the nuts separately and then thrown them in there. So I'm going to do just one more pulse and then we'll roll them into some little balls. Okay. Pretty good.
So yeah, you could still do it with raw nuts if you wanted. Without soaking it. If you wanted to.
Without soaking the nuts?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
You
just be a
could,
different
yeah.
texture when you eat it.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, it just wouldn't
Crunchier.
be as soft. It wouldn't be. They wouldn't chop as easily. You might chop them on your own or something. All right. So I've got just a tray or a sheet. You can
So
use.
that's it. You're not going to bake them. This is just come out as is, right?
They're raw. Yep. So the only thing I might do now, after I roll them into their little balls, is put them in the fridge for a little
I
while.
was thinking you'd stuff them a little bit.
Yeah. So basically, I'm just gonna take a spoon.
We
if I can
roasted
find
them.
one.
Let's bring Josie to Shark Tank.
Just take that right off. So now I could put this in a bowl or, whatever, but there's
Eat
really
it for
no
breakfast.
Need. So you can use your hands. Your hands will turn a little bit stained with the cocoa, but it washes right off.
It's like henna.
Yeah. It washes off. But you should just roll them into little balls, and then you could roll them in
Anything,
Salt,
coconut,
nuts.
salt,
Yeah.
nut, yep, a
Mm.
little bit of
It's like a brownie base.
coconut.
Oh, coconut sounds really
Oh
good.
yeah.
Does anybody want to taste one? Or
No.
does everybody want to taste
No,
one?
not me.
If you don't mind my hands, they're clean. Anybody want
Good
one?
size,
There
good
you go,
size
Jim.
too. Jim, you taste. You be the.
We'll have a few more of those. Yeah, those are delicious.
Move over chocolate almonds.
I mean, it basically is, right? It's
Right.
it's cacao and almonds and
You like?
Do you love it?
Delicious, yeah.
yeah.
It's not too much. He doesn't.
Somebody else taste test?
I
Sue?
will.
Susan?
Thank you.
I mean, how can anything with dates, first of all, then you add all
I
the other
know.
stuff, it's just perfect. It tastes perfect.
Yeah.
That's true.
So there
Awesome.
it is, and you just roll them into these little balls, and voila, you've got a great
You gonna
raw
try
dessert.
one? I'll try one. You
Yeah,
try
yeah,
one.
oh, we're
Yeah,
making
I'll try
more.
one. Oh, I'm sorry.
Absolutely. I'll make them more.
You see a lot of people out now making maple syrup. We'll buy
Oh, they're tapping the trees.
scores of
Yeah.
cans on the tree.
Yes, I have
making
neighbors
Oh
that
yeah, it's
do
the
that.
season.
My grandfather had a farm, and
Starting to
he
warm
had,
up.
you know, that's.
Oh, yeah,
I
that's
grew
why
up
they do it.
just on good maple Natural. syrup
I
because it
love
was what
maple
my
syrup.
grandpa made, you
Oh,
know.
that's
And then
wonderful.
he had an apple orchard. Thank you. So we had apples always, and then he had
That's
it was a
great.
chicken farm, so we
All
always had
right,
chicken and
thanks,
eggs.
bye.